All right, so welcome to part 4, possibly 5, of the C10 KILLSHOT install. We'll open the hood up here. I got everything wrapped up here, as you can see here. Let me explain to you what is going on here. So we pulled off the old Edelbrock carburetor right here, and we went ahead and installed the ECM on the firewall right there, set computer. Back there behind that firewall is the fuses and relays that came with the wiring harness. So the wiring harness goes here to the fuses relays, comes across here, down through here, picks up the throttle body, catches, goes back around, goes down to the oxygen sensor over on the driver's side. Up front here goes down to the cooling temperature sensor I got right here in the water pump. Just conveniently had a plug right there. That'll get me into circulation all the time. So it should give me a true accurate reading of what the temperature of the engine is. Got the 2 extra leftover plugs laying right here. 2 extra leftover plugs back there. One of them's for the coil for the future when I go pull the distributor out and replace it. Fuel lines come up on the firewall, back between the transmission and the firewall, supply and return. Supply comes up across the top here, goes to the final filter, goes straight into the throttle body. Out of the throttle body, comes out, goes back around, down here to the regulator. Regulator comes out of the regulator, goes back to the fuel tank. Here's our little pressure gauge, liquid fuel pressure gauge. I've already primed this and set it up, so I've already got this thing set up for 45 PSI, exactly what this guy wants. Over here, we have our linkage hooked in, use the existing Edelbrock setup, Edelbrock, whatever. Set that up. I don't know if I'll need to spring in or not. I don't know. We got to do some dialing in. So the linkage set up, TV cable set up. I did use the Edelbrock TV cable geometry corrector. Got that on there. Everything else pretty much fit just like a Edelbrock carburetor. Going back over the other side. Out of that wiring harness that was right here, had a power wire and a ground. Didn't have any loom. I put it in loom, ran it across here, back down here to right here. I started getting a lot of accessories on here, so I went ahead and put a fuse block to try to help keep some of those accessories protected instead of jumbling up everything to battery. So the EFI lands right here. It's got a fuse right here. Also my other accessories I got, and I got spots for 3 more accessories. The power fuse box comes in right here, ground right here, and it goes to the battery. The 12 volt ignition source, I was going to use the 12 volt that went to the electric choke, but it doesn't stay on continuously, so I had to locate another one, which just so happened to be inside the cab at the firewall on the fuse block. So I had to run a cable, and that's what this cable right here is for. So this cable here in this wire loom, just one wire, and this CAN cable run across over, and I've got to put this back in there, snap that back in. I go through this guy here, come down here, go through that grommet, straight inside the cab. Okay, now, remember my oxygen sensors down there, you can see the white tape on the wire? That's where the plug is. Oxygen sensors, I got long tube headers, so after the collector back there, about 10 inches, is where I've got the bung for the oxygen sensor. This kit came with an accessory plug that had a bunch of wires. I mean, I don't know why you need all those wires. They all got functions. You got things like fan 1, fan 2, tack out, tack in, voltage, 12 volts going out. I'm trying to think what all they are. Something else, something else, something else. Okay. The only thing I needed out for that whole pigtail of wires was ignition, 12 volts, and the tack in 12 volts. So this has got an HEI distributor back there. It's got an Excel distributor. I don't know if you can see it back there or not, right there. All right, on that side over there is a plug. On that plug, you've got a yellow, black, and red wire. The yellow wire is coil negative, the black wire is ground, and the red is hot, and it comes from the bottom of the distributor. That yellow wire, I had to cut into it and splice it to bring in the tack into the system so it could see the RPM so it knew how to fire. That was probably one of the hardest things to get to. The rest of the wires, they didn't come in a loom, but I put them in a loom. When I had put butt splices on right here, left all the nomenclature and labels on it and left it right here for future use. Now, one day, I am going to upgrade the cooling system and we'll get electric fans, so I'll be using that one day. I'll have some more relays up here somewhere. I don't know. Somewhere I might make, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot to it. So what did I have to do? Let me think about this. Okay, so what I had to do, I had to consider it like 3 different parts. It was 3 different areas. Number 1 is fuel. So I had to take care of that. If you watch my second video, you would see how I took care of that. So the fuel aspect of it is getting the supply, return, and venting, mounting the fuel pump, filters, and getting everything up here and ready to go. The second part of this is the throttle body and all this cabling here, every bit of it, all this integration cabling. The fuel part took me about 4 hours. Now, I had to rip out all them lines and everything. The throttle body and cabling and all that took me 8 hours. And the next part, the third part, will be distributor and ignition integration. And I'm going to do that in a couple weeks, probably. I mean, the holidays coming up, so I don't know. I'll get to it sometime or another. But right now, we are ready to fire this guy up and set it up. And then we're going to have probably a day or two of fine tuning and tweaking. So let's go ahead and jump inside and we'll start this guy up. All right, so if you notice, I'm sitting on a milk crate. We just got done redoing the interior, waiting on the upholstery guy to get my seat done. All right, so first thing we can do, key switch here. Let me go ahead and lower this down so we can get to this guy real easy. Turn it on. Listen, you can hear the pump running. Screen lights up. And this is what you see when you first start it up. So we're gonna hit the boxes up here. I'm gonna go to Wizards. I'm gonna go to Start Wizard. Mild cam. Single wideband oxygen sensor, yep. Coil negative, because I'm getting the negative side of that HEI distributor. Coil negative. When I change the distributor out later on, I'll do magnetic. Number of injectors, 4 of them. 100 pound/hour. Engine is 350. I've already went through and set this up once before. My hot idle speed, I want it to do 850. That sounds good. Look at all of your details here. Everything looks good. You click save. Sure you want save setting? Yes. Now turn the key off for 5 seconds. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. Okay. Turn the key back on. Fuel pump primes. Screen starts up. It is connected. I'm inside the building, so the GPS is not going to show up. Battery voltage, map, blah, 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 blah. This guy's cold, so it's going to be a cold start. Let's see what it does. Fired right up. Up here we got our battery voltage. Remember, it's 12 something, so we know our alternator's putting out. We got our map PSI, map temperature, engine temperature, idle air control position step, actual air fuel ratio, ignition advance, injector pulse width in milliseconds. Right now we're in open loop status, and we're running. This is our run time, so it's been 30 seconds since we started up. RPM's at 1100 some RPM. So I gotta back this thing out of the shop so we don't die from carbon monoxide. So I may have to baby it because it's still cold to get it out. So we'll see what happens. Once we get it out here, we can let it do its thing. Okay, now we're outside. Let me turn on the light here so you can see. So we'll let it run. We can watch its engine temperature climb up here. Now it's in a closed loop status. So now it's learning. My idle air is 96, 95 steps. I'm gonna keep an eye on that because when we get up to operating temperature, when I get to operating temperature, if this guy is still high, I'm gonna have to adjust that down. But while this thing's running, let's go look through it. If we go out of our main home screen, we've got monitor. We can click on it, and you can go to monitors, and this is what it gives you. Sensors, idle, ignition timing, emission, injection, pulse width, fan control, ACES sampling. And then you got sensor error. So let's go look at each one of these sensors. Gives us a live indication of what's going on with our sensors. Yet again, shows our idle target speed at 1045, so it's learning right now. Idle air position, 96, 97 steps. Fuel learn, ignition advance, power on time, fuel pump on, key states on, closed, Alright, let's go to the idle. That's our RPMs, map, engine temperature, our positions, our steps are coming down, so we'll see when it gets up to temperature what it goes to. IAC loop, idle final air, TPS, air, you can see all this. Key state on, okay. Let's go into ignition timing. Basically tell you what's going on there. We're not actually controlling any ignition, we're just sampling it. So, fuel injection, what's going on with the fuel injectors. A lot of this stuff is the same thing over and over again. I guess you could sit here and tune it and watch it and do all that good stuff. Fan control, runtime, fan 1 on, temperatures. So these are the temperatures here, and I bet you can set those. Well, I don't know. Ain't let me set them. Off times. Fan 1 flag off, AC flag, okay. ADC sampling. What that guy looks like. Alright. Sensor error. If there's any errors, they'll show up here. We don't have any errors. So, no check engine light per se. The gauge part, you can change the way this looks. I kind of like the way it is. So I'm just going to leave it like it is, like the factory had, but you can change it however you want it to look. Tuning, sensors, idle, spark, fuel pump, all that stuff. So let's see here, you can go system IO, rev limiter. You can set up a rev limiter, system setting, go into basic. This is all of our settings that we had in it, that we put in it, we told it to start with. Advanced, cam tight, ignition, kill shot, okay, go back. So we got some stuff we can do there. Fuel pump, turn off RPM, 45 RPM. Key on pump, hold time, 5.5 seconds. So that's your prime time, 5.5 seconds. Turn off after lose of RPM, 2 seconds. Okay. Fuel, basic. This is our trims. Injector pressure is 43.5. Okay. Go back. Spark, basic. Like I said, we're not controlling, we're just sampling. Idle, basic. Idle minimum steps of 5 steps. Idle blank winding position. Sensors, basic. See that? Alright. So basically went through all that. We got logging here. We can log things. We can save things. we go back in the Wizards, you can do a TPS auto set, and we may have to do that depending on how this thing works out with our IAC. So our IAC is coming down. We're not up to temperature yet, so we'll keep an eye on it. As the engine temperature increases, you'll start to see these fans come on. The red light means that function's on. The white means it's not on. But yeah, we're right there where we want to be on our RPMs. So, kind of cool. Let's get a little heat going up in here. I don't know, air conditioning heat. I want to roll that window up over there, sister. So we're just sitting here, we're waiting for the engine to come up temperature. And the engine, about 180, 190, something like that. That would be our operating temperature. And if we don't get down below 20 right here, by the time it gets to 180, 190, I'm gonna have to go out there and adjust on it. I need to look in this book here, because this book does say something. Let's look at this book here. I don't know if it's in this one or not. Now see, this is kind of funny because this is the book that came with the kit. It don't tell you anything. It ain't got no drawings in it whatsoever. I mean, it tells you how to get around the handheld. But, I mean, I need more than this. So, and I didn't really get much information off the website either. I did go to the website. It talks about timing control here. Here's the idle setting portion I was talking about right here. So once the engine's warmed up, the idle speed can be set to what is desired. Select the function tab, find the target hot idle, You change your non-target idle speed, you'll need to set the throttle plates on the throttle body to an optimal. Go to the next page. Optimal position. To do this with the engine running, select the monitor tab. You will see the idle screen. Look at the IAC position value. This value should be between 6 and 20. We're at 44 right now. With the engine at in neutral and up to operating temperature. Also make sure the TPS shows 0. If not, you need to perform a TPS 0 relearn. So TPS is going to show 0. Alright, so how do we get to that? Let's go look at that. Maybe tuning, idle, advanced maybe? Let's see. Show back, basic. Sensors maybe? Advanced? No. Basic. Nope. Okay, so it's not there. Bear with me, I'm still getting used to this thing. System, we ain't looked at that. Let's see what that is. That's all inputs and outputs. Okay. Throttle position is closed right now, and it says right here it has to be 0. Oh, it's not real bright in here. I can't hardly read it, but anyway. gotta save it. Dang it. Monitor, gauge, home setup, sensors, GPS. Okay. Save. That save was up there in the top left corner. I couldn't see it. Okay. So it's saying 0.067. So it's not, it needs like a, let's give it a blip. That's 0 right there. I'm still at 54, 55. Alright, so we got to do some adjusting on that. And that's to be, I mean, that's going to be normal because your setup to your engine might be a little bit different. We can't have that guy stepping like that. It's got to be down there. So we're going to have to do some adjusting on that. So let's go do some adjusting on that.